The stars were calm when the war began. Humans had just started making peace with their neighbors in the stars. Treaties were signed, hands were shaken, and smiles were forced. But not every species believed in peace. One night, without warning, the Kyle Empire attacked. Cities were destroyed. Space stations turned to ash. No one knew why. They just came, fast and brutal. Sergeant Ryan Hale wasn't ready for war. He was supposed to be helping with a relief mission on a small moon called Illyri 9. It was a peaceful place with glowing rivers, floating gardens, and a colony of strange, soft-spoken aliens called the Illyrians. They looked fragile, like glass dolls. But they were kind, and they trusted humans. That's where he met her. She was small, barely up to his waist, big glowing eyes, pale skin that shimmered in moonlight, always following him around like a curious puppy. Her name was Veli, and one night after she'd helped him collect food packs for the village, she looked up at him with innocent wonder and asked, "Will I ever be strong like you, human?" Ryan chuckled. "Maybe someday, if you grow big and tall." She smiled. "Then I'll be your warrior mate. When I grow up." He laughed harder. "Deal. If I'm still alive by then, I'll marry you." She giggled and ran off. He never saw her again. The Kale attacked that night. The village burned. Ryan fought hard. Too hard. His ship was damaged and he barely escaped. Dozens of Illyrians were taken or killed. He never knew what happened to Veli. Years passed. Ryan became a captain. He fought battles, lost friends, moved on, or tried to. But sometimes when he looked at the stars, he remembered that glowing little face and the silly promise he made. It had been a joke, but maybe it hadn't been to her. Now, on a mission to investigate strange Kale activity in a distant system, Ryan stood on a dusty moon once again, cold wind brushing his face, old memories echoing in his head. His team was searching a ruined Kale lab, filled with broken cages, strange energy readings, and deep underground tunnels. Then the scanner beeped. Lifeform detected. They followed the signal, and deep below, in a dark room, someone was waiting. The figure stepped into the light, tall, elegant, glowing skin, silver white hair, armor fitted tight to her body. Alien, beautiful, powerful. And when she looked at him, really looked at him, his breath caught in his throat, because her glowing eyes were exactly the same. She stepped closer and whispered, "You promised to marry me." Captain Ryan Hale didn't speak. He couldn't. The tall armored alien woman in front of him was staring directly into his soul. Her silver white hair glowed softly in the dim light of the Kale lab. Her glowing blue eyes were steady, and they were familiar. Too familiar. He had seen those eyes once, on a little girl who handed him a water crystal and asked to be strong. "Veli?" he finally whispered. She gave a small nod. "Yes." Ryan stepped back slightly, stunned. "But you were a child. How are you even alive? What happened to you?" Veli stepped forward. "The Kale took me that night. They experimented, modified, trained. I escaped 3 years ago." Ryan's fists clenched. "You escaped? You've been alive all this time?" "I've been looking for you." Behind them, Ryan's team waited by the door, silent. They didn't understand the tension in the room, but they could feel it. Veli turned her head toward them. "Your men make noise. They should leave." Ryan raised a hand. "Stand down. Give us space." His soldiers nodded and stepped away, leaving them alone in the glowing chamber. Veli looked at him again. "You told me you would marry me when I grew up." Ryan rubbed the back of his neck. "I was joking. You were a little kid." "I wasn't joking," she said softly. "In my culture, promises are binding." Ryan swallowed hard. "Veli, you were sweet, innocent. I didn't think you'd remember." "I remembered everything," she said. "Even when the Kyle tried to erase my thoughts, even when they made me fight, I held on to one thing, you." Ryan's heart ached. This woman in front of him was no longer the child he remembered. She was taller now, almost his height. Stronger, battle-scarred, confident, beautiful in a way that didn't belong to innocence anymore. But her voice, that soft, hopeful tone, that was still hers. "You were just a girl," he said gently. "You didn't understand what I meant." Veli took a slow step closer. "Then explain it to me now." He hesitated. "I meant it to be comforting, not real. I didn't think it would stick with you, but it did," she said, placing a hand over her chest. "In here." He looked away, unsure what to say. The air between them was heavy, part fear, part guilt, part something else, something dangerous. Veli reached into her armor and pulled out a small necklace. A glowing charm dangled from it. His old military dog, tag bent and scratched. Ryan gasped. "Where did you get that?" "You dropped it when you saved us. I wore it for years. The Kale tried to take it. I fought them." He stared, overwhelmed. "You kept it all this time?" "Yes." Silence again. Then Veli looked away. "You don't have to keep your promise. I know humans speak lightly." "No," Ryan said, quickly. "It's not that I don't care. I just—" He looked at her. At the woman she had become. At the strength she carried now. At the pain behind her calm. "I just don't want to be another person who hurt you." Her expression softened. "Then don't be." Suddenly a loud explosion shook the chamber. Ryan turned sharply. "What the hell?" His comm buzzed. "Captain, enemy movement topside, Kale drones incoming." Ryan grabbed his rifle. "We'll finish this later. Time to move." Veli drew 2 glowing blades from her waist. "I'll cover you." He stared at her weapons. "You're armed?" "I was trained by Kale commanders," she said, stepping toward the hallway. "But I only kill for myself now." As they ran side by side through the tunnels, Ryan glanced at her, fighting, dodging, slicing through enemy drones like wind through leaves. This wasn't the girl he left behind, but she might be the woman worth chasing. Laser fire flashed through the tunnels as Captain Ryan Hale and Veli sprinted through the smoking ruins of the Kale lab. Behind them, Kale drones crawled from the shadows, 6-legged, fast, and deadly. "2 incoming left," Ryan shouted. "I see them," Veli replied, spinning mid-run. With swift precision, she threw a glowing blade like a boomerang. It sliced through the first drone's sensor eye, bounced off a wall, and returned to her hand. The second drone jumped, only to be crushed by a telekinetic shockwave from her other palm. Ryan slowed down, stunned. "Remind me not to get on." "Your bad side," Veli smirked. "You already promised to marry me, too late." Ryan almost tripped. "Still joking?" he asked as they ducked behind a pillar. "No, just getting used to your humor again." For a second, in the middle of all the chaos, they shared a look. No words, just recognition. The past wasn't gone. It was still alive between them. Ryan tapped his comm. "Team Alpha, status?" "Under pressure. North wing compromised." He turned to Veli. "We need to regroup. My team's trapped." "Then we save them." Ryan hesitated. "You don't have to. I'm not weak anymore," she said firmly. "I'm a warrior. I fight beside those I choose." She raised her blades. "And I choose you." They ran into the smoke-filled corridor side by side. Ryan watched in awe as Veli moved, leaping over wreckage, parrying attacks, covering his flank without needing orders. She was faster than any human soldier, sharper than any AI-controlled drone. But what shocked him most was how much trust she showed him. Not once did she doubt him. Not once did she act superior. She fought with him, not for him. When they reached his pinned team, Ryan took cover behind a fallen beam. "We've got you surrounded," he yelled. A Kale officer stepped from the shadows. "You shouldn't have come back, human. She belongs to us now." Veli stepped into view. "I never belonged to you," she growled. The Kale officer raised a claw. "You're broken, Alari." "I'm reborn," she said, hurling both blades at once. The drones behind him exploded. Ryan and his team pushed forward, With Veli clearing the path, they finally secured the exit tunnel. Oxygen alarms blared, and the emergency lights turned. Blue evac shuttle arriving. As they caught their breath near the landing pad, Ryan looked at her again. She was calm, deadly, and beautiful. "You've changed," he said. Veli looked at him. "So have you." He nodded slowly. "Guess we both had to grow up." She stepped closer. "Then maybe we're finally ready." Ryan blinked. "Ready for what?" She tilted her head. "For the promise." He laughed nervously. "Still, holding me to that, huh?" Her voice was soft. "You're the only part of my past that felt warm." Just then, the evac doors opened. Dust blew past them. Ryan's team rushed on board, but he stood still, looking at her, at the alien warrior girl who had become something more than memory, something real, something fierce. The evac shuttle hummed as it lifted off from the ruined KL facility. Inside, Ryan sat across from Veli in the dim cabin. His team sat in the back, whispering quietly, casting curious glances at the tall alien warrior beside their captain. But Ryan's attention was locked on her. She hadn't said a word since they boarded. Not a single smile. No jokes. Just silence. He cleared his throat. "You okay?" Veli didn't look at him. She stared out the small window, watching the stars streak past. After a long pause, she asked, "Why did you stop smiling at me?" Ryan blinked. "What?" "You smiled when you remembered me. When you realized I was alive, but now you're afraid." "I'm not afraid," he said gently. "Just surprised. A lot's happened." Still, she didn't look at him. Her voice was calm, but it held a weight. "Did you mean it?" Ryan frowned. "Mean what?" "The promise. The words you said. You told me you'd marry me when I grew up." He leaned forward, elbows on knees. "Veli, I didn't know what your people believed. I was just trying to comfort a scared little girl." "But I wasn't scared," she said, finally turning her head toward him. "I was serious. I knew what I wanted. You didn't treat me like glass. You made me feel safe, strong, real." The cabin fell quiet. Ryan rubbed his hands together. "I'm not saying I didn't care. I did. I still do." "Then why won't you say yes now?" she asked. He looked into her glowing eyes, and for a moment he saw it. Not the child he once saved, but the woman she had become. "I don't want you to feel like you owe me something," he said softly. "Or that you're still that little girl chasing a hero." "I'm not chasing anyone," she replied. "I came to see if the man I remembered was still real." Ryan exhaled. "And what did you find?" Veli tilted her head slightly. "Someone who carries more guilt than love." The shuttle shook lightly as it entered orbit of a nearby human outpost. Ryan's comm pinged, docking in 5 minutes. He looked at her, again. "I made that promise to a child," he said, "but now you're not that child. You're something more. And maybe I need time to catch up to who you are now." Veli studied his face. She didn't cry. She didn't get angry. She just nodded slowly. "Then I'll give you time, but understand this." She leaned closer. "When my people make a promise, it doesn't expire, and I haven't broken mine." Ryan felt something tighten in his chest. Regret? Longing? Maybe something more dangerous? Hope. As the shuttle docked, the soldiers stood and prepared to exit. Ryan rose to his feet, then looked back at her. "Will you stay with us?" he asked. Veli shrugged. "I came for you. Where else would I go?" He smiled. "Finally." "You're not what I expected," he said. Veli raised one glowing eyebrow. "Good." As the doors opened, Ryan walked into the light of the human station with his team behind him, and beside him, silent, proud, and absolutely unforgettable, walked the alien girl who had once been a memory. Now, she was his present. But would she, Be his future? That answer was still to come. The human outpost was calm, but Ryan Hale could feel a storm coming. Veli had stayed quiet since they landed. She moved through the halls like a shadow, watchful, quiet, unreadable. The other soldiers gave her space. Even without weapons, her presence was enough to make seasoned troops feel cautious. But Ryan knew she wasn't here to hurt anyone. She was waiting. For him. 2 days passed. Ryan buried himself in mission reports, repairs, and debriefs. But no matter how much he worked, he couldn't stop thinking about her eyes, her voice, and that question she had asked, "Did you mean it?" On the 3rd day, a communication drone landed on the outpost pad. It carried a message from Veli's people, the Alari. Ryan stood in the command center as the translation appeared on the holoscreen. A bond was declared. The male must either complete it or face the right of refusal. Ryan frowned. What the hell is that? Veli, who had been waiting silently behind him, answered without emotion. It means, if you won't accept the bond, you must fight someone from my caste. They will test your strength and your truth. Ryan turned. Fight someone? What kind of ritual is that? It's tradition, she said. It proves your word had value, even if you don't. Choose me. He stared at her. So either I say yes or I have to fight some alien warrior to prove I wasn't lying. She nodded. It is not punishment. It is honor. Ryan sat down slowly. This got serious fast. Veli stepped forward. I told my people you were a warrior of honesty, that your words had weight. They believed me. Did you tell them? I didn't mean the promise, no, she said, because I think you did. He looked away. I was young, Veli. I didn't even know what your customs meant. But I did, and I waited. Silence fell between them again. Then Ryan stood and squared his shoulders. If I have to fight, then I will. She blinked, surprised. You would do that? Not because I want to hurt anyone, he said, but because I want to prove one thing. What? That I never meant to break your heart. Later that evening, Ryan stood outside the station's training hall. His opponent had arrived, a tall Alari warrior clad in ceremonial armor with blue light running through its veins. The Alari bowed. Captain Hale, I do not fight to harm. I fight to test. Ryan nodded. Understood. Veli stood off to the side, her eyes on him. She said nothing, but her hands were clenched at her sides. Ryan stepped into the ring. The fight began. The Alari moved like a wind spirit, fast, fluid, graceful. Ryan used every bit of training he had, dodging, blocking, pushing forward. Minutes passed. Sweat rolled down his face, bruises bloomed on his arms, but he never stepped back. He never gave up. And finally, the Alari warrior dropped to one knee and bowed. The human has passed. Ryan stood there, chest heaving, eyes searching the crowd for one face only. Veli stepped forward slowly, her expression unreadable. Then she whispered, You didn't have to do that. He smiled through the pain. Yeah, but I wanted to. Ryan's body ached. His knuckles were swollen, his ribs bruised, his legs felt like stone. But his heart was louder than the pain. He sat alone on the edge of the outpost's rooftop, the stars stretching out above like a sea of fireflies. Cool night air brushed against his skin as he stared up into space. He had passed the right of refusal. The Alari warrior had bowed. The bond was officially tested and proven. Now the choice was his. Accept Veli, or let her go. Behind him, footsteps approached softly. He didn't need to turn. He knew it was her. You fought well, Veli said quietly, standing beside him. He gave a weak smile. I forgot how hard your people hit. She nodded. He went easy on you. Ryan laughed, softly. Thanks, that helps. A long pause stretched between them. I didn't want you to fight, she said, but part of me had needed to see if you would. Ryan looked up at her. And? I saw a man who didn't run. She sat down beside him, her glowing silver white, hair falling over her shoulder like moonlight. I kept your dog tag all these years, she said. It reminded me of who I was. It reminded me of you. He turned to her, his voice low. Veli, I don't know if I can be the man you imagined. I'm flawed. I'm human. I make mistakes. She looked him in the eyes. I didn't come looking for a perfect man. I came looking for you, the one who saved me, the one who said my name when no one else cared. Ryan felt something shift inside him. He had spent years fighting wars, losing people, hiding from emotion. But here was someone who saw him fully, through time, pain, and distance, and still chose him. What does this bond mean, really? He asked. In Ilari tradition, she said, a bond is not about control. It's about protection. Loyalty. We don't own each other, we guard each other's hearts, he breathed slowly. That sounds beautiful. It is. She stood and extended her hand. Will you walk with me? Not as a soldier, not as a savior, but just as Ryan. He stared at her hand, then at her eyes. So much trust, so much strength. And still, a flicker of hope behind them. He took her hand, stood, held it longer than necessary. I don't know what the future holds, he said, but if you'll have me, I'll stop running from it. Veli gave a small smile. Then I won't run either. They stood there together, side by side, with the galaxy wide open before them. No orders, no fear. Just two souls. One human, one alien, finally walking the same path. The Ilari homeworld was more beautiful than Ryan had imagined. Floating islands, trees that glowed, skies filled with drifting lights and soft music that seemed to come from the air itself. But even in this paradise, he felt pressure building in his chest. He wasn't here as a visitor. He was here to be judged. After the bonding decision, Veli had requested permission to bring Ryan to her clan. Her people didn't take human bonds lightly, especially not ones made long ago in war and childhood. Now he stood in front of the Elder Circle, a ring of ancient Ilari leaders, their skin glowing with shifting colors that reflected their emotions. Veli stood at his side, silent, loyal, unshaken. An elder with deep blue eyes stepped forward. You are the one who promised a child, then vanished in smoke. Ryan nodded. Yes. You returned as a warrior. She risked everything to find you. Why? Ryan paused. Because I wasn't whole without her. I didn't know it for a long time, but I know it now. The elders murmured softly, colors flickering. Another elder, her skin glowing silver, spoke next. Do you seek to own her? Ryan shook his head. Never. I want to walk beside her. Not in front. Not behind. Beside. That answer caused silence. Then the oldest of the elders rose. His skin was dimmer, his voice soft and slow. There is one final test. Veli looked up quickly. He has already fought. This is not combat, the elder said. This is trust. Ryan raised his eyebrows. What kind of test? You will walk the path of fire, alone. If your heart holds truth, you will survive. And if it doesn't, then you burn. Later that day, Ryan stood before a long, glowing walkway in a stone valley. The air shimmered. The stones pulsed red. The heat was real, dangerous. Veli grabbed his arm. You don't have to do this. He looked her in the eyes. Yes, I do. Why? Because I meant what I said. I want to belong, to you and to your people. If this is what it takes, I'll walk through fire. He stepped onto the path. Instantly the heat attacked him. Sweat poured from his skin. His boots felt like they would melt. But he walked, step after step. Thoughts of war, loss, fear, all tried to pull him back. But he remembered Veli's face, her voice, her belief in him. Halfway down the path, the stones turned white hot. His knees buckled, his vision blurred. But he clenched his fists, gritted his teeth, and shouted through the pain, "I'm not leaving again." At the end of the path, he collapsed. Smoke rose from his shoulders. His skin burned, but he was breathing, still alive, still his own man. The elders watched in silence. Then the eldest spoke one final time. "He is worthy." Veli ran to him. She dropped to her knees, helping him sit up, brushing ash from his skin. "You fool," she whispered. "You could have died." He smiled weakly. "But I didn't. I came back. Again." She kissed his forehead. "I know." The Ilari welcomed Ryan. After surviving the path of fire, he was no longer just a human outsider. He was now something rare, an honored bondmate to one of their own. He had passed their trials. He had earned their respect. But peace never lasts long in the galaxy. 2 days after his acceptance, Veli and Ryan stood on one of the floating gardens above the Ilari capital. Bright petals floated in the air. The sky shimmered with golden light. Veli smiled more freely now. "You've changed," she said softly. Ryan raised an eyebrow. "Stronger?" "Wiser," she said. "And a little more Ilari." He laughed. "Do I glow yet?" "Not yet," she teased. "But maybe soon." Their moment was interrupted by a deep alarm that shook the ground beneath them. Sirens echoed through the city. Above them, the sky darkened, not from clouds, but from ships. Massive, sharp-edged warships. Not Ilari. Not human. Kale. Ryan's face hardened instantly. "No, not again." He pulled up his communicator. "This is Ryan Hale. All defense teams. Report. We have incoming Kale warcraft." Ilari guards rushed past, energy weapons ready, but even they looked nervous. The Kale hadn't attacked in years. Why now? Veli touched his arm. "They're not here for war." "What then?" "They're here. For me." He stared at her. "What do you mean?" Veli looked away. "After the last war, the Kale made a secret demand. They claimed I had Kale blood, because I was born during the invasion near one of their experiments." Ryan's voice dropped. "That's insane." "They said I belonged to them, that I was their property." Ryan's fists clenched. "You're not theirs. You never were." A loud voice echoed through every channel in the city. "Return the girl born of fire, or we will burn this world again." The message repeated, cold, heartless, mechanical. Veli stood still, her jaw tight. Ryan turned to her. "We won't let them take you." But she didn't speak, because part of her, deep inside, was afraid they were right. What if she wasn't fully Ilari? What if she was something made? That night, the Ilari Council met in secret. Ryan sat beside Veli as voices rose and tempers flared. One elder said, "We cannot risk a full invasion." Another said, "She is bonded. That bond is sacred. She stays." A third, "The humans can protect her." But the final word was clear. Veli would choose her fate. Outside the chamber, Ryan found her sitting on the edge of a glowing cliff. She didn't turn when he approached. He sat down beside her. "I'm not going to let them take you," he said. "I know," she whispered. "But I need you to believe something." She looked at him, her voice trembling. "What? That I don't care what blood runs in your veins, Kale, Ilari, something else?" "You should." "I don't," he said firmly. "You're you, and that's who I chose." Her eyes filled with light, real tears, not glowing energy. She reached for his hand, and this time she didn't let go. The Kyle warships hovered above the Ilari capital like silent monsters. No attack had begun, yet, but the threat hung heavy in the air. Inside the Ilari high tower, tension crackled like lightning. Elders debated, soldiers sharpened blades, civilians prepared for evacuation. And Ryan Hale? He was planning something that no one expected. "Veli," he said quietly, spreading a glowing map across a table. "I know how we end this without war." She leaned closer. "How?" "We don't fight them head on. We expose them. She frowned. What do you mean? They claim you're their property, that they created you. But what if we prove they lied? He tapped a point on the map, a Kale archive facility, deep in the nearby asteroid belt. Their genetic lab logs, birth records, breeding experiments. If we find the data they use to justify their claim, we can show it's false. And if it's not false, Ryan looked into her eyes, then we fight anyway. But I want to try the truth first. That night, with only a small stealth ship and 2 allies, Ryan and Veli flew under Kale radar, deep into enemy territory. The asteroid belt crackled with energy storms. Navigation was hard, but Ryan's hands never shook, not once, because this wasn't just a mission. It was her future. Inside the Kale archive, they found rows of black servers, cold, humming, ancient. Veli accessed the data. Her hands trembled. Then, she froze. Ryan stepped forward. What is it? She turned, eyes wide. I was born in a human-controlled zone. My mother was a Lari. My father was a Larry. Then why did they say? They wanted me because I have a rare genetic trait, not Kale-made, natural, but powerful. They couldn't replicate it. Ryan's jaw tightened. So they tried to steal you instead. She nodded. I was never theirs. They downloaded the proof. Just as the KOI guards discovered them. A chase followed, narrow corridors, blaster fire sprinting through shadows. Ryan shielded Veli with his own body, and she returned fire with brutal precision. They escaped by seconds, their ship streaking away through the dark. Back at the Alari capital, Ryan stood before the Kale's open channel and broadcasted the stolen files across every frequency. Kale experiments, lies, fake claims of ownership, exposed, for the galaxy to see. Ryan ended the message with one sentence. She is not your creation, she is her own. The Kale flagship paused. Then, without a word, it turned one by one. The warships followed, gone, retreating. The capital cheered. Alari children threw light petals into the sky. Elders lowered their staffs in respect, but Ryan only looked at Veli. She stood there in the soft wind, glowing, peaceful, finally, free. You didn't just save me, she whispered. You freed my name. He stepped close. Then speak it. She smiled. Veli, daughter of no one. Bonded by choice. Free by fire. The galaxy was quiet again. The Kale were gone. Disgraced. Exposed. Veli's name was cleared, the bond honored, and Ryan Hale was finally able to rest. But something still lingered in the air. Not fear, not danger. Something unspoken, something sacred. 1 week later, the Alari gathered beneath the twin moons for a rare event, a full bonding ceremony. Not out of duty or pressure, but out of love. The floating gardens were lit with crystal lanterns. Music echoed gently through the air. Alari children danced in circles of glowing mist. Ryan stood in ceremonial robes, simple, dark blue with silver edges. Beside him stood Veli, radiant, strong, free. An elder stepped forward and raised her hands. 2 worlds meet tonight. Not through war, not through law, but by will. She turned to Ryan. Do you accept her not as a prize, but as an equal? I do. Then to Veli. Do you accept him, not for his strength, but for his soul? I do. They held hands. No, rings, no chains, just fingers interlaced and hearts steady. The glow around them intensified. Not from tech, but from something deeper. 2 lives. 1 bond. After the ceremony, Veli took Ryan to a quiet clearing behind the gardens. She had said nothing all evening. Now she turned to him, serious. I have one last gift. Ryan raised an eyebrow. More firewalking? She smiled. No, something much harder. From beneath her robe, she pulled a small capsule. Inside it, A glowing blue crystal. This, she whispered, is a Lari soulstone. It carries memory, emotion, truth. I want you to keep mine. It holds me. Ryan took it carefully. Why give this to me? Because no matter where you go, I want a part of me to be there. Always. He closed his hand around the crystal. It's not just a part of you I'll carry, he said softly. It's all of you. They didn't kiss. They didn't need to. They just stood there in the starlight, arms around each other, two shapes silhouetted in blue and gold. A human soldier, an alien survivor, and a love that crossed war, worlds, and wounds.